Here we are, chilling in Florida at your house. Alex Shelnutt, where are all my friends? I'm stoked on this. And we were joking about this. I didn't even realize, well, there's two things to address before we really get into it.
For sure.
One, I didn't realize that you had a podcast before, and I was giving you shit for this, that you have the perfect podcast setup.
I know, I should have utilized this more.
And the 7B and everything ready to go. So I'll grill you on that later.
Cool.
But the other thing is, maybe you can hear it if you're listening.
Yeah, there's a lot of dogs.
But we are chilling with some pups. So if we get a little pup interruption, I'm sorry. If you're listening, it'll probably sound worse. If you're watching, I recommend it because then you get to see us hanging out with pups.
Yeah, they're great pups.
But yeah, if you hear little cuts and edits and all that, maybe we have to edit out a little bit of pup playing. I'm not too upset about that.
No, I'm not
it's
either.
A good problem
They're having
to
a
have.
good time.
So here we are. But yes, with that said, I'm stoked that we're doing this. I was thinking about it, and it really happened because of our mutual friend, Adam Elmakias.
Oh, yeah.
There they are.
There they are.
Yo, and for anybody watching or listening, they are legit the best of dog friends I have ever seen.
They haven't stopped in, what, a good hour and a half?
Yeah, they're just hang out. And they're two, like, golden retriever and
some curly...
tiny pupperdoodle.
Yes.
And they have no idea that they're different sizes, and they're just pals.
They're fine with it.
They're just hanging out, chasing each other, jumping all over. So again, if you're listening, it probably sounds crazy. And if you're watching, you're welcome because you get to watch some pups hang out with us.
What's better than just a podcast?
Yeah.
A podcast with puppers.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we were saying that it was really our mutual friend, Adam, that I think is why it happened. You were in LA for a show and you came over to our house and we played Settlers of Catan.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
it changed my life.
You like nerdy stuff?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Where do I begin?
And then we like started nerding out like on all of the other like random hobbies we have. Like we both like Legos.
Yeah,
randomly.
we both know like random mutual friends from Ocala, where I'm from, which is strange.
Grew
Very
up
strange.
skateboarding. Like there were so many odds and ends. So I'm really excited for this one because really like the whole idea with the podcast is, like it's a music focused podcast. And obviously we'll talk about that, but I like all the things about like you as a person and like what your journey was and all those things. So all the random hobbies, like that's my favorite part. Like, I love like learning those things.
Well, I'm a hobbyist.
Yeah. So I'm excited to like dig into that.
Oh yeah.
But the way that I normally start it is just for anybody listening who doesn't know you really briefly, who are you? What do you do? Just that quick explanation.
Cliff Notes version.
Yes.
My name is Alex. I play drums in the American rock band, A Day to Remember. I've been in the band for going on 14 years, which is kind of wild. It seems like maybe 3 have gone by.
That's crazy.
Live in Orlando now with my beautiful fiance, Lindy. I build Legos, I golf, I skate, write music, and just, that's about it. I mean,
bro, that says it.
Yeah,
that says it.
I'm an open book.
Well, cool. And I'm so excited. Like, again, like there were so many like hobbies and just like odds and ends. And I think that the thing that we're kind of like figuring out before the podcast started was how strangely similar our Florida growing up and like the music scene and all that. Cause I grew up in like Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, and you grew up in Ocala. Mm-hmm. But we were just talking about like just those music scenes and how special all that was.
Oh yeah, that was such a special time to me. I feel like it was like what, probably 2003 to like 2008, something like that. It was just like, for me, there's still I'm sure a great scene in Ocala, but
there was something about that.
Yeah.
So take me back because this will tie perfectly to it. I'm always so curious to find like that spot where you found that thing, right? So like for this, it would be drums, but like, what was that like? Like early Alex, like finding those hobbies, like what were you up to?
Oh, it was kind of like a weird series of a lot of things. Hey, bud. It probably all kind of started with my stepdad at the time, who I'm still close with. This guy, Frank. Oh, hey, Frank. Hey, buds.
Hi.
I'm trying to tell my story, y'all. Let's tell my stories.
Stories to tell too. You want to join us? What's up? What's your story? You're a good boy from
You're
Florida.
a good boy from Florida. Yeah. So it started with the dogs.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, apologies if you hear odds and ends, cuts and edits. They go $2, but I'm trying to keep as much of this puppy hanging as possible. I like them.
Yeah. So
Frank.
yeah, Frank. So yeah, it probably started with my stepdad at the time, Frank, who I'm still really close with. He's a great guy. He used to tour back in like the early '80s, like with some like hair metal band, absolutely shredded at guitar.
So he was
And,
like he was in it.
Yeah, he was in it, and he was like, I would always watch him, like just do like all these sweeps and all this crazy shit on guitar, and I was like, man, I want to play guitar, and so for Christmas one year, I got one of those like little beginner like packs with like the guitar and the little combo amp, and it took some lessons for like a year and a half or two or something, and got pretty decent at it. Not anything great or anything. And
How old were you around the time?
I think I was probably 12, 11, maybe 10 to 12. We'll call it, I don't know, something like that.
Another
Sixth
thing
grade
that we were
age.
joking about earlier was we were trying to talk about ages when we were talking about all like the music scene stuff, and we both realized that we're horrible at associating actual ages.
Yeah, we were talking. I was like, oh, it's around sixth grade. So I was either 10, 11, 12. I have no idea.
I don't know.
No
and
clue.
I'm sure people listening are watching are like, come on, how do you not know that? I don't know. So you
Yeah,
were
I don't
sixth
know.
grade old?
Yeah, sixth grade old.
Perfect.
Sixth grade old. And yeah, so after about a year and a half of maybe less, maybe a little more of learning guitar, I obviously wanted to be in a band, the natural progression of after you learn an instrument. And I couldn't find a drummer because no one played drums. Everyone wanted to be a guitar player, bass player, something else. So I was lucky enough. My dad had a drum kit at his house. So when I was there, I would kind of just fart around on it, kind of like try to teach myself some stuff, and ended up eventually playing drums with just some friends and stuff. When we realized, we actually weren't too bad. We could maybe write our own songs and do some stuff.
It was like enough where like a song could come together.
Yeah. So and then I ended up just now I was a drummer, I guess. And then yeah. So,
were you like bummed on that, or by that time were you having fun enough where you're like, oh, this is sick?
Oh, it was fun. I was just stoked to finally be playing music with other people. Like
Okay.
I was, I'd been, and you're like sitting there and you're doing it by yourself for a while, and you're just like, man, this is cool, but I'd like to, maybe see what it's like to try to maybe just either cover some, just play music with someone else, just do something else.
So so that switch was welcomed just fine. You're like, sweet,
Yeah.
I get to play music with my friends. Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys start making songs and all that.
Mhm.
And this probably brings us to that magical time of like being in school and like going to shows. And
Oh yeah.
was-
That's literally, it flows right into, because a little bit before that, I started going to my first local like punk hardcore shows.
yeah.
And all that. I never actually I think the first actual like kind of concert that wasn't a local show I ever went to was Warped Tour when I was like
sick.
7th grade. And then aside from that, it was just all like local stuff. And even that was enough to where I was like, man, this is really cool. Like,
Because you were also telling me you had an older sister that showed you like cool music. For
I
the
was
first
lucky
time,
enough
right?
too. I have a sister named Erin. She's 2 years older than me, and she had a lot of friends who were into like, a lot of punk and like, No Effects and some other like cool bands like that. And I kind of was just like, oh, this is different. This is like not like
Not the radio.
Yeah, not the radio, and kind of started me getting into just. Then she had some friends who listened to like a bunch of hardcore bands, and like Evergreen Terrace was like that Burned Alive by Time record was like the first hardcore record I like genuinely fell in love with. So I kind of went from just playing punk music on drums to trying to learn all these like hardcore songs, and then just a lot of little things kind of
from there.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So then, like, because we were talking about this again, like before it started, but you guys it seems like we both had these really magical, strange music scenes that were probably way more formative than we realized.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you were telling me, like you played so many of your shows. Like, what were the venues you were playing at? Like,
there was Bobby's on the mic. Yeah, we were playing. There was this venue, the main one that was like probably to me the coolest, like. Because it was probably a good 2-year span of at this venue called Easy Street. It was like a family fun center. They had like mini golf, like arcade, bumper boats, like go karts, all that, and and yeah, like so they had this little party room. It was maybe like 150 cap or something, but with this shitty little built stage, and there were 2-3 times a week there were shows there, and that was like. No matter who it was, like you just go. Like you'd meet so many. Yeah, you'd meet so many people there. You'd meet new friends. Like I've joined bands with people before a day to remember because of people I've met at those shows, and yeah,
Dude,
it was amazing. It
yeah,
was really cool. Like aside from school, that was like the people I would hang out with were just people I met at shows.
I love that we both had that, and it's like, it's so weird and crazy to think about because you think now and you're like, wait, you'd play like all these random shows at like a family fun center,
yeah.
But like whatever it was about that time in the scene was just so cool.
It was different. Like, I don't know what it was, but something was different about it.
It was just cool that like it was this social thing. Because for me, we have so many parallels, similar, like almost same age growing up in Florida, skateboarding, all that. Mm-hmm. I guess for me, I pivoted more towards cars when you were getting into bands. But even not playing music, I would go to those shows. Yeah. Like it was just like the outside of school, like that's how you met friends. And it was just a sick community. Yeah. So you were playing in all sorts of different bands. Yeah. Before you did anything with A Day to Remember? Yeah. They were already a band doing their thing.
Yeah, they were a band for a few years before I joined. And they'd done a few tours at this point. They had like an EP out. Oh god. There they are again. They had
Honestly, I love this.
They do what they want. Yeah. But yeah, they had like an EP out. They had they toured a couple times, and my first bands played a few shows with A Day to Remember before I was in the band, and that's kind of how I met them. Yep. And we're back. Yeah, so that's kind of how I ended up meeting, like Josh and Neil were the first two I met when we played these shows with them.
So then you were what grade old?
I think I was 9th grade old when I started playing in the local bands that were, there was some, I don't even remember the name of the first band. I think it was like Forever Standing or something. It was like my first band, but we played, the first show we played with A Day to Remember was at this like local church. It was like their EP release show. And that's when I kind of met Neil and Josh, and it was awesome. That was like my third show I'd ever played, period. And it was like, to me, massive. Like it was in this like VFW
people
hall,
actually like, showed up.
Yeah, and it was like a really cool thing.
So then how did it lead up? Like, were you... Because you were saying they were touring a little bit, and you were a little bit younger.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one. They were Neil's about 2 years older than me, so he I think at the time was like only 17 or something. I was when I joined I was 15, but when I started playing with them in other bands, I think I was 14.
Holy! So did you have a point where you had to like? Did you finish school before you started touring with them, or how did that work?
I actually ended up dropping out twice.
Whoa.
It was a weird story, but yeah. I ended up getting expelled from the private school my dad put me in, and then he didn't know. We kind of weren't on great terms, and then I ended up joining the band. He didn't know, and then we were in Massachusetts recording For Those Who Have Heart, and I got my drums done, and then like a week after, my mom came up to visit me and was like, "Oh, you have to come back home with me because your dad got custody of you and you have to go back to school." And we had like this whole tour afterwards and everything that we had to get like a fill-in drummer for because we didn't know if I was gonna like be in the band or not. I like went back. I think I was in 10th grade at this point, and yeah, it was probably the most depressed I've ever been. I got Baker acted at one point, and then he finally ended up like I wasn't eating, I wasn't doing my schoolwork, nothing. And then it was around Christmas time, and we needed to shoot a video for one of the songs on the record, which was "The Plot to Bomb the Panhandle," which was the video that Ron Jeremy was in. My dad's like, "Okay, you can go do this," because there wasn't a drum. Like it was kind of in limbo of like what we were gonna do for a drummer. He's like, "Okay, you can fly to LA, do it, and I'll call you when we get back from." He was visiting my stepmom's family, and then I didn't hear from him for like 2 years or something. So I ended up just dropping out again and joining the band.
So there's like an alternate world where if you had to have gone back to school, you would have lost that chance to like.
So it's kind of weird, like if I actually tried in school, because I wasn't like, I could do the work, I just didn't do it. And it's kind of this weird thing where I feel like if I did give an effort, my parents wouldn't, like I feel like the only reason my mom let me drop out is because she knew I probably wasn't going to graduate anyways. Yeah. And so I feel like if I did well in school, I almost wouldn't have gotten this chance to drop out and join this band. It's like this weird, like, yeah, I feel like it's because I didn't try, it almost helped me in a way. Well, that's where like, it's like a weird thing.
Those are the things that are so fascinating to me, because obviously everybody has their different stories. But like if you had grown and fallen in love with music so much by then that it was like obvious that was your thing. Oh yeah. To the point where you were depressed, not eating.
Because it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Like, I mean, like that's such a sign. Like, I'm so glad it happened that way.
And it's just so funny looking back. Like, there's so many little things that if they didn't happen the way they did, like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. And just, I have no idea what I'd be doing.
That's, to be honest, so crazy.
Which Frank, the guy I was telling you, my stepdad at the time, like, he was a big part of convincing my mom to let me do it as well. Like, it was like 2 days before some tour, and I was in, I was in 10th grade. It was when I was at this private school. It was 2 days before this like 2-week tour. It went all the way out to like Iowa or something. Yeah. And I get a call from Josh saying, "Hey, do you want to play drums for A Day to Remember?" And their drummer was on probation or something at the time. Oh, damn. And I was like, you should come over and talk to my mom. And so he came over. Yeah, he came over, and I got my work early, like from school. And then that night I went to the practice space, met Jeremy, met Tom at the time, our old guitar player, and it was like a 7 or 8 song set, and we played it. And then the next day we pretty much left on tour. And just in this van, this random 15-year-old kid. Okay, in this fucking shit van, like touring around. I have
so many questions right now because this is insane.
It's hard to really wrap it up in a way that's like, there's so many little crazy things that I still, the older I get, I'm like, man, this is even crazier the older I get, and like thinking back to how, it kind of like, it was very strange.
But I like, these are the moments where it's like on paper, as you explain it, you're like, oh, that would never work, or that's crazy.
Absolutely.
But like that energy and like whatever that is happening, like it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, and things, I feel like so many things just like kind of just, it's not destiny, but it's like, there's so many little things like down like that, just if they didn't work out the way, if I didn't join certain of these local bands and didn't play this one show maybe with A Day to Remember, then I would have never met, like Neil and Josh. And
so wild. Okay, so my question. So one, you're 15 years old. Obviously, you must have ripped on the drums for them to be like, yeah, cool, let's take this.
I didn't think so. They said I was great. I don't remember. I mean, holy shit. I mean, I hope I was. That's all I did around. Like I would play for like 3 hours a day, and I thought it was like, I've always been pretty hard on myself, but I mean, they thought I was good enough. So hopefully, the next thing I knew, I was on tour, and I'm like, this is the coolest shit ever. I don't care if we're in a van sleeping in it every night. We didn't get hotels or anything. Okay, I didn't give a shit.
That's what I was going to ask.
I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
You're 15 years old. You're newer to the group. Like that must have been such a wild, like, did they, at that weird time, was there a draw? Like when you were like playing shows, like were there people showing up, or like, what is your first impression of touring at 15?
The funniest part was, we always call Augusta, Georgia, like our second hometown, because that was actually the first show I played with A Day to Remember was in Augusta, Georgia, at this place called Sector 7G. And that
was that the old movie theater?
No, it was an old laundromat. Okay. It was an old laundromat. It was super small. But like, so that show was unfucking believable. Like this venue is maybe a 200 cap, if that, like maybe legally like a 70 cap, but they would pack like just wall to wall, just sweaty, just they would just shove people in. But so that was like at the time almost a better draw than Ocala was. And that was the first taste of a show with a day to remember I had. And then
so you were
that and like Wichita, Kansas, which was another place we played there. And that was kind of like our third hometown, maybe I would say.
Yeah.
And then, but a lot of the shows in between were not. I mean, you know, there was shows that maybe 5 people were there. I mean, there was still like, it wasn't like it like there was a certain little weird markets we did really well in, and but most of them were questionable. Yeah,
but like. I mean, that's all it would take, right? You're 15 years old. You go out and you play this insane show.
I didn't give a shit.
That must have just been absolutely incredible because that meant that you could leave school. That meant like all these things. So
yeah, it was amazing, and that's why, like, when I thought I wasn't going to be in the band when I had to go back to school, that's why, like, I had that little taste. Like, I just recorded drums in this professional studio. I went on
and that
2
was
tours.
Which
I went
album?
on For Those of Heart.
At 15 years old?
Well, I was 16 when we recorded it, but I joined and did a couple tours when I was 15. But I like just turned 16, I think, when I recorded.
So you had a taste of like legitimate,
like a couple little good tours. Like to me at the time were incredible tours, which I still like remember so much about those tours somehow.
Yeah.
And then got to record drums in this like professional studio, and then all of a sudden just like to think it was just going to be ripped away forever was like heartbreaking to me,
dude. Well, that, and again, like, I guess huge shouts to Frank, but like
I do get now. I was very resentful for years when I was that young about what my dad was trying to do, but I mean, the older I get, the more I understand why he was like, no, fuck no, I'm not gonna let my 15 or 16-year-old son travel in this shit van, like just with people I don't know, like, and just you're sleeping in this van in sketchy areas all over
well, that's what I was gonna say, is like, if you didn't understand, if you weren't the kid that went to all the local shows and like understand how special that was to your parents, you're like, yeah, fuck this, like this just doesn't work. So like, that's so cool. Like, you said it was Neil that came over?
It was Josh.
Yeah. Like, what? Like, the fact that your parents did humor it, because as a parent, how do you understand how special it is? Like, you don't. It's any other band, exactly. Right? Fuck, that's crazy.
And it's just like, I think that kind of like, to me, I mean, they've never admitted it, but it's like, to me, I just have a feeling it's because how bad I did in school anyways. Like, I feel like they knew I probably wasn't going to, even if I did graduate, probably wasn't going to go to college. Like, I had terrible grades. Like, I knew how to do it, I just didn't do the work. I was just that kid.
Yeah.
So it's like which is funny because if I actually gave a fucking tried, they would not have let me like throw any sort of thing like that away. I guarantee it.
Dude.
Again, that's a guess, but I can't see any other reason why they would let that happen. Like I can't.
God. I'm pausing real quick because I thought I heard the camera stop.
That's a good boy.
Tiny pause. So we had paused. So it was almost because of you not doing great in school.
Yeah.
That they gave you that chance. So,
which I'm not suggesting to anyone that they don't try to do well in school, but I just, in a weird way, I think worked out for me.
Well, I think that the lesson there, if you were to pick anything apart, is just like, if you know you have a thing, like if you are obsessing over drums, or if you just see that path, like you did everything it took to follow through. And that, I think, is like, maybe your parents saw a bit of that. Maybe they saw the school thing.
I mean, they could definitely tell I didn't give a shit about anything but music and skateboarding. Yeah. Like, and they would ground me and like for a couple weeks, and I would just sit in my room and just still, even if I couldn't do anything, not do my homework. I would still just like, out of like protest, be like, this isn't going to do anything. Yeah. Like, fuck you guys. And like, I think they just saw like that no matter what they did, like, there was no motivator for me. There was no like, they didn't give a shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then that must have been like such a special time, because that album, again, I don't know, like the hi puppers.
Yeah, if you want to set him over there, he might run over there. Sorry, guys. Another little interruption.
Interruption. Come on.
It's a dog day afternoon over here. All right, go down, get down. You're way bigger than you know. He's so big. No. Go. Nope.
Sit. You're great there.
Yeah, you're good right there.
Here, you're great. Sit. Yeah. How's that? Sit.
Lay down. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good boy.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Good boy. All right, and we're back again.
And we're back.
I think.
So that album, when did it start clicking? Like, because obviously you're touring, you're with everyone, it feels right. You have the grace of your parents. Like, that's got to be huge in itself. But when did it start feeling like, whoa, like this might become like real?
It was honestly such like a slow growth that I can't really recall like a single show or a single moment, but like, which I think is why it feels so cool. Like it was just because I feel like it's still growing, which is awesome, and I feel like it just everything kind of just I don't know, everything was unexpected to me from the beginning till now, like which I kind of like I always had a feeling, and that's like I mean I wasn't gonna just drop out and do this, you know, like I didn't want to just throw away something like, you know, I didn't just do I feel like I just always had this kind of weird internal feeling, and that's why I kind of just said fuck it and didn't even really think about it. Like I don't really know if there was ever like a single moment or single like thing. I just have always believed in it, and I always just loved doing it. And it's still like still have that feeling, you know.
Dude, I think that says so much actually. Like that, call it intuition, call it whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would call it's weird.
Because it's hard to explain. It's hard to write it out. It's hard to like fully put it in words.
Yeah.
But when you know, and the fact that without the certainty or without the anything, you just committed, I think says so much. Like that's awesome.
It's like I can't even imagine. Like I feel like I'd be more scared to do what I did at 15 now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like looking back, like I said earlier, it's like I kind of understand some of the things my dad tried to do back then, or you know, I get it more. Like when I'd be more terrified now to do some crazy like leap of faith like that.
Yeah.
The older I've gotten, but I'm but I'm glad I did it.
Are you
stuck? My God, Bo, come here.
Well, you're not even stuck. You're just playing.
He's just being a little turd.
What?
Come on, Bo. Bo, over here. You guys are being so good. You guys are being so good.
You good? Hey.
Oh, chill. God.
Chill. You good? Chill.
We cool?
We good? Yeah.
Sit.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's a good boy. That's a good boy.
All right, we back.
We back again, I think.
So it really like after you recorded that album, you start touring, and it was just you just kept going.
Yeah. It was just kind of like I don't know. We just kept getting better offers. You know, more people started slowly coming to shows. I don't know. It was just one thing after another. Kind of now we're now Bobby's here. It's hard to explain.
Tell me like the thing, because we don't have to go through like the Day to Remember story has been told. Like that is a very like you can find it. But like tell me just in the progression and in all the years you spent, like what are some of the things that stand out to you as like favorite random moments or accomplishments or like first tours to thises or that's or even like moving to Orlando or like just like those like the parts of it that are like special to you in that?
Oh man, that's hard. That's a thinker. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that Blink-182 tour a couple years ago was easily one of those just like full circle, just like
because that was
what
like
the fuck kind of moments, you know? Like it's Travis Barker is one of the main reasons I was like, oh, this is cool to be a drummer, you know? And like he actually played a song of ours a couple nights during our set on drums, and I was just like. That was like probably one of the ultimate, just like, this is some weird shit. Like
Yeah.
this is like aside, I don't know, like
Dude.
trying to think of little moments like that, but that's definitely one of
That's a
those. That's
huge
just
one.
like,
I think that's crazy. Like Blink 182 was such an influence on so
oh yeah,
many of like our
yeah,
generation. And I also think it's massively cool that Travis Barker is who he is and does
oh
what he
yeah.
does because
He's
he
a yeah.
stays so
He's
relevant.
insane. He's so
And
talented.
yeah,
Like
and
not
like
just with
just
drums, just he's just in his story. Like he's got a book out and it's pretty wild. It's about all the it's about obviously some about his plane crash in there. There's like
yeah,
all
can I
like his
say,
life
right?
is
Yeah.
his it's an incredible book.
Yeah,
Like
I
and it
hope that's
made
the
me
title.
kind of like I actually bought it the day it came out. I
Yeah,
pre-ordered it and then like picked it up at Barnes and Noble.
that's so
But
sick.
yeah. But
So
yeah,
that was
so
a
that
huge
was a
one.
huge one for me. I mean, the first time going overseas and stuff when I was 17, we did a UK tour and we shared a bus with Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Like that was wild. Like, just it's just
Do you remember your
honestly there's
first bus?
still yeah, that was actually our
That
first.
was the first
Yeah, it
bus.
was like this double decker
Yeah.
bus that we split with Maylene and it was crazy. The shows weren't that great, but I mean, it was just like, wow, I'm in another country. I'm not with my family. I'm just with these dudes and we're playing music over here and that's why we're here. Like that's just shit like that. It's like every time there's like even still when we go overseas, it's still always crazy when we land. And I'm just like, because we just did Australia and it's like we'll land and I'm like, man, this is wild. Like I play drums and I'm in Australia because I play drums.
It's
Like
really
it's very strange.
yeah, like it's really cool to me to see like you legit have like that like wide-eyed sense of excitement and adventure. Like when you talk
Every
about
day.
it, like
Like
it's not you're
every
not
day.
jaded. Like you're legitimately
yeah,
like
that's
you're
my
so
number one
excited to
thing
be
that I
here.
hope never to happen. Like of course, like I'll have my bad days on tour. I mean, everyone has bad days regardless, and like I'll get some tours are super exhausting, but it's like when you're going to sleep that night, you're still like I'll try to always at least sometime like once a day, just like remind myself like like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're doing literally what you've wanted to do
Yeah.
your entire life and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
And it still should be doing it for a while, hopefully, but
Yeah.
it's just yeah, I hope to never that's the number one thing I hope to never lose is just like I've the love for doing it.
Yeah. No, I mean like that's so cool to me because like again, I never really played, right?
Mhm.
Like it was very clear in your story you were so early to find a guitar and then drums and you were just obsessed. And I just love talking to people that found their thing and then did their thing.
Yeah, it's a weird like again, it's still to this day blows my mind the way like when I was saying how if little things didn't happen the way they did, like say my mom never married Frank at some point,
Yeah.
like maybe I wouldn't have been as into like learning an instrument, or if my sister didn't have these friends that kind of turned me on to a lot of this alternative music,
Dude, or
or if I
even
wasn't into skating and didn't hear like the Tony
Tony
Hawk pro
Hawk.
like pro skater sound, just a lot of random shit like that,
Or
like
even being
just
born when we were born,
exactly,
right? Like
yeah,
the fact
even
that
just
the
like
music
crazy,
scene was
yeah,
so good at that
yeah,
time.
and like I am again, there's still I'm not trying to talk shit on the Ocala scene, but it's definitely, in my opinion, not the same as it like I feel like when I got into going to shows and stuff, and the local scene at that time was absolutely incredible. Like
Yeah.
it was, I remember it vividly because of how just like life changing it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. Cause
Like
like,
literally life changing, like
yeah,
if those local
actually,
bands that I was in didn't play with A Day to Remember, I would have never met them and had this like random chance of it was like such a small window of this happening.
yeah.
It's just a really crazy like and then just hitting the ground running with it, just
Yeah.
not
Well,
really second guessing it.
that's, I think like you have to give yourself huge shouts and props for that because, if you hadn't fully committed, there could have been another drummer and there could have
Oh,
been another, like,
absolutely.
it's like the
Yeah,
fact that you full
absolutely.
sent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty funny because like when I didn't know if I was going to be in the band or not, like other people in the band would be like, "So do you?" Because I was kind of like a fill-in for a while, and we did a couple tours where they'd be like, we'd be at like a truck stop getting like some fast food or whatever, and they'd be like, "So do you think you want to do this?" And I would kind of like lie to myself because I didn't think I was gonna be a full-time thing, and I'd be like, you know, I don't know. I think like they always talk about it too, and it's kind of funny. Like they'd be like, you didn't even want to be in the band. I was like, no, trust me,
You don't
I
get
did,
it.
but I didn't want to like put it out there before I knew it was like a full-time thing that like I didn't want to be disappointed, you know.
Yeah.
I was just saying like, oh, I don't know, but in reality, I just didn't want to be like let down if it wasn't possible for me to be in the band. It's like,
Yeah.
but
It's like you
you
loved
know,
it
in
so much that
yeah,
you didn't want to
yeah,
think about the idea that it couldn't be.
yeah,
Damn. Okay, so again, I want to talk about so many parts of you, and I feel like the band story is there and like people can see it. And obviously, like it kept growing and you had all these great opportunities and got to tour and are still doing it.
yeah,
But the
right
like
here.
the parts of you now, because there's other things that you've done and other things. So like one along the way, you did a brand, you did Golden
Yeah.
Eagle, which is something that I saw from afar, like again, growing up in Florida.
Yeah, I was
and
surprised when we were out there and you saw the decks and you asked if I was a part of that. I was like, damn, I didn't know you knew about it. It's
dude, well,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
like it's crazy to me because I knew about it and it was like very much like I guess I tied it to like, I knew that it had something to do with one of the members of
Yeah.
A Day to Remember. And like, it was kind of just like
Yeah.
it was like those kids that went to a different school. Like
Yeah.
we were in different parts
Yeah.
of Florida and I knew it was like cool, but I didn't fully understand it.
Don't worry, it's normal.
just- Some pup hangs. Are you good? Are you smushing? No. He's good.
Jesus, you're
They're
so
good.
hairy.
So you did Golden Eagle.
Yes,
You had a podcast for a minute.
I did.
We need to talk about that.
I will again.
I
Well,
would love that. Hey,
if you move Bo down there, you might jump down.
hey,
Might have to cut again. And sorry,
you
guys.
Hey, play nice.
Yeah, if you move Bo down
What you're
there,
doing is you're
Bobby will probably
trying.
follow if you pick him up, and he's not gonna bite you or anything.
Okay, you go down there, and then he'll
Yeah,
naturally,
Go on.
or you can just chill if you want.
Yeah,
Or
exactly right.
Either way, what do you? It's kind of your move now.
Hey. Go, Bob. Go. Go. Go, bud.
Or if you sit, you want to sit again? You had a good sit for a
I
second.
know. You're doing good for a minute.
Oh,
No, don't go over it. No.
you know what happens when.
Nope.
Here, come sit, Bob.
Just wheel bearing.
You can. I guess you can.
All right.
All right. And we back.
Be back.
So, Golden Eagle podcast. And then you also like, you have a bit of like a home studio set up as well, where you like can do quite a lot on
Yeah.
that end. Am I missing any cool endeavors there?
No, I mean, the Golden Eagle thing is going to come back.
Yeah.
Cliff Notes version about what happened with that is, I was doing it. It was me and my friend James. That was it. He's a great graphic designer. Yeah. Like builds website. We have the same vibe on, we're both into the same kind of skate culture stuff. Like we're great together, but we kind of, we lived together and had a company together, and it kind of just is, had a falling out a little bit. And also like, we kind of went a little harder than we should have in the beginning. Like I lost a pretty good amount of money doing it because I was just
You just put everything.
Yeah, I
into
just
it.
went real hard, and we learned a lot of stuff from it. But we've been talking, and we're gonna definitely bring it back in a way that makes more sense. In a way we learned, I feel like taking everything we learned from that and making it into something really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna probably get Lindy, my fiance, to do special like one of one, like cut and sew like pieces of like, maybe still do the shirts. I don't know if we're gonna do decks anymore, but we're gonna make it something really special and really cool. Not just some like, not just taking everything we think we know about it and just throwing a bunch of money, and which we're just really stoked about it when we were doing it. So it was hard not to like try to do way too much.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna come back. Not sure when, but definitely at some point soon, and it's gonna be way better than ever.
Well, what I was interested in with that is like, how did you know? And like at that time, was that another just natural thing that came together, or like where did that idea come from to be like, cool, like let's make a brand? And not only a brand, but you really incorporated skate culture and like skateboarding into it much more than anything. Like I haven't seen something connect the two like that.
Yeah, that was kind of we it ended up being like, it was called a streetwear brand, but I kind of wanted to I wanted to start something, like whether it was a brand or just some sort of something. It was more of like a lifestyle brand, I guess I would say. It was just, I wanted to put stuff out there that I was stoked on, that stuff I've always been into. Like, you know, like we did a collab with Bayside, and we did like a Bayside deck because, you know, like I'm super into, like, we did some stuff like that. You know, I've always been into skateboarding, which is kind of my first passion before music, and just wanted to put shit out, not even necessarily to make money, but it'd be cool if eventually I would. But
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do something else that I could, like, you know, that I was proud of aside from just the band. I wanted to, like, you know, it was cool seeing it grow and seeing it, people buy stuff, and just by seeing people wear it at the shows and see people like just being as stoked or even close to stoked as I was on certain things.
Yeah, like it's cool. Like as I understand it a little bit more, it makes sense. Like it was something that you were passionate about.
Yeah, I was really proud of it. Get your tail out of his face. Sorry.
When did that start?
I actually don't. I think it started in 2011. Actually, again, time to me is a. Yeah, you're furry. Time to me is wild. Yeah. Like I'm so, like, there'll be tours I'll go on, or we'll go on, and I'll think it's like 2 years ago, and I'll look back at the dates, and it's like, oh, this was in 2012. I'm like, oh, that was 7, almost 8 years ago. And I was just like, yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
It's so weird how that happened.
Yeah, I think I'm guessing like 2010, 2011, maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, no, that's cool to me because, again, like, I don't know, you see a lot of people in bands do brands, and it like sometimes it just feels so contrived and it feels like such like a cash grab.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It's so cool to talk to you now about it because it's like a funny moment for me. But it really felt like thought out, and it was cool to see the two come together. Yeah, being a kid that came from skateboarding and music, I was like, they get it.
That's awesome. I was just stoked you even like recognized it at all. Like me and James will still every now and then get asked about it, and it's just something I've always wanted. Like, luckily, you know, we're great friends again. We've been talking about doing it again, and yes, it was always like a passion project, and so we learned a lot from the first go of it, and I think this time we have some cool plans on how we're gonna make it even better and not be just something that I, for lack of better terms, lose my ass on. The money part of it's secondary to me. Like, it does suck knowing I lost a lot of money from it, but it more sucks because it was like finally hitting a point to where it really started like feeling like a legitimate thing. Yeah. And it just to cease to exist is kind of like the worst part of it. Yeah. To me.
And then, not to change too heavily, but you also along the way figured out quite a lot with recording and oh no. Sorry. Pause. I think you're still there, right? Do you have vocal?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yes.
Tight. Dog problems. Honestly, good problems.
Yeah.
I'll never be upset that a golden. I'll never be like, man, this podcast I had to cut too much because a golden retriever was hanging out too much. Like, nah, we're good.
That's funny.
But yeah, so like along the way, you obviously learned quite a lot about recording. Yeah. So like, when did that happen? Like, what sparked that interest where you like took the time to learn?
Well, I started using GarageBand a lot when we were on tour, and I got this like little tiny MIDI keyboard for Christmas or something, and started messing with it a little bit, and was like trying to write beats and stuff. I got this little tiny interface to like do guitar and stuff on it, and it just kind of became like an obsession for a minute, like trying to like figure, like, you know, I went through and got all these plugins and stuff, and it was just, I was experimenting with all these layering of sounds and everything, and I'm still learning a lot. It's really hard, but I'm just like, it's so fun going, like, it's kind of almost like an empty canvas every time I go into my studio, because I have, you know, stuff, whether I don't know if I'm going to write a beat, I don't know if I'm going to write a heavy song. I don't know if I want to write, it could be like a ska song or whatever else. It's almost stressful, but in a cool way, like opening up a
Yeah.
fresh thing. And like, my Dropbox is probably filled with like 270, like at least cool starts of ideas. I'm terrible at the mixing part of it, but when it comes to the songwriting parts and like just the ability to use whatever sounds in whatever way to just write fucking whatever, it's like a cool way to just, even if you're not doing it for anything, just like make something.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask. Like, do you have like a perfect world, like where you make another, like, I don't know, like release your own beats or something like that, or make another project, or write with people? Like, what's your favorite part of it? Or
well, I do. I've had a couple random like ideas with a couple of my friends. My good friend Max, who's also our guitar tech now. He's a super good guitar player, or he's our guitar tech. He's a super good guitar player. I've known him now for probably 12 years or something, and we've written a lot of just this really weird, stony instrumental stuff. And like none of it's like mixed or anything, but we've written a few songs that like we're both kind of like, we should just eventually like put out like this cool, like, we don't have a name for it or anything, but like, that's one thing. Like I want to do like a weird instrumental EP with him. Then I have like other little random projects I'll do with other musicians I know, but they've never really gone anywhere because I'll obviously our schedules are so like, all over the place. And
well, and it's also
other like, but I do want to, that's one thing, the instrumental thing, like, it'll happen one day. It's just, I wish I was better at the mixing part of it.
It's funny, right? Like I feel like I'll watch some bands and they'll do side projects, and like even from afar, I'll be like, do y'all even like each other? Or are you just trying to like hoping that your side projects go off enough that you cannot do the thing that you clearly don't care about anymore?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that with your band, right? Like you all get along so well, and it's like you're so proud of your product and you're so happy to be here.
That's one big thing I'm stoked about being in our band. The more we tour, the more it's kind of crazy to see how many bands like they're still friends, but like after like it's surprising to me how many bands aren't that close personally. Like, I feel like it's like a lot, which is fine. I get like at a certain point it becomes more of a job than whatever, but like I feel like that's a big reason we're still enjoying touring and doing all that, because we are still all great friends. Like we all like, I don't think I could physically tour if I wasn't friends with the people I was with. Like, no matter, like, even if the money was still great, even if everything else was still good, I don't like, tour's hard enough. Like, I couldn't imagine going on tour and just hanging out by myself all day and then getting on stage playing and then just being by myself again. Like, I think I would be completely miserable.
Yeah. And it's like, it feels, again, like, I don't know, but like, again, being so close with Adam, like he'll send me all these ridiculous tour videos that he's filmed of y'all and stuff, where it's just like, y'all are just best friends that happen to be on the road, like the ridiculous shit. So like,
dude, Adam, I miss him touring with us. I know he got kind of burnt out of doing it for a while, because he was going from like our tour that would have been like 2-month long tour, and then fly from there to like do like a tour with All Time Low, and then he would like leave from that to go back on tour with us after like a month. And I think he like got kind of burnt out, but I loved having him on tour with us.
Dude, like the way he speaks so fondly of y'all, and like the every now and then he'll just show me, like we'll be hanging out and he'll like be going through files or whatever, and it's
He's got some funny shit,
just the most ridiculous like green room things. And I'm like, again, like I really know you and all of your band through Adam, but like just through that and seeing it, it's like y'all are like best friends, like the shenanigans and the everything. So it's like,
we definitely, I love that we're still close, and we still like, I mean, obviously we have our, we butt heads every now and then, but for the most part, for the most part, we are all like so close. Like we'll still hang out with each other when we're home. We'll still, be in contact with each other. It's not just like radio silence when we get home.
That's rad. Yeah, that's cool. And like I get it then with you making music on your own. It's like, you're having fun. Like it's not like you're like
it's not anything for any other reason aside from just, I have all these cool little toy like, instrument, and it's just fun. It's like a painting or something, but it's not, or video games, but it's like something productive, just go in there and I just experiment for a while, and sometimes there's some cool shit that comes out. Sometimes there's definitely not. Most times there's not, but I have my Dropbox is a graveyard of so many ideas.
Here's an interesting question that I kind of like was just thinking about as you were saying that. Like, so many of the people that I know now are, it's almost so hard to find people that are down to be in a band that like it's necessity to be a solo artist. And so many kids are making beats and doing kind of projects like that. Do you think that on the other side of that, the fact that you grew up playing music, being in bands, now as you make beats, do you think it's easier for you and it was easier to learn because you had the fundamental understanding, or are they different?
I think being a drummer helped me when it comes to programming MIDI, whether it's like drums or keys or whatever, and kind of getting how the MIDI grid is. Like certain things are definitely easier for me to grasp onto when it comes to the just like bedroom producing, I guess, for lack of a better term.
No, that says it. Yeah.
But but at the same time, like there's so many things that, since that's not what I started doing, I had to have a lot of people help me, like show me how to do a lot of stuff. Like there were certain things that it helped with. And I guess like being in a band, writing song, like, you know, being a part of the writing the music and stuff definitely helped with like structuring stuff, and whether it's like a song structure or something. But it's just still, I guess the one thing I really want to learn is the mixing part of it. I've been the last couple of years, like I'll think I have like a pretty decent mix or something, and then I'll like A/B it to something. I'm like, this sounds like dog shit.
Dude,
it's still fun. I mean, it's still, you know, it's always fun learning it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely that part of it to me is very frustrating.
The only spot that I can deeply relate on that is before a podcast, I hadn't even opened a DAW.
Yeah.
So like I figured out recording, I figured out like compression and just like the very basics. Mm-hmm. And then I'll listen to like the pro podcasts and it'll just be perfect. Yeah. And there's no,
it sounds like they're in the room with you kind of thing.
Yeah. And there's no, it's just this perfect full sound. And like, there'll be one day I was joking, like, I'm the Dr. Dre of podcasts, like this, that, and this. And like, I'll like bounce out of podcast and I'll have like cut something and I'll be like, what's up? And like totally joking. And then I listen to like a real, like legit produced, perfect studio podcast. And I'm just like, must be nice. And it's so discouraging. You're just like,
but I mean, they're also probably in some like acoustically treated room with like, you know, like probably like thousands of dollars of outboard gear that it's running through and like all that. It's like,
you're probably right.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, some people are just wizards when it comes to mixing them, but I think a lot of those like super, like I'm sure the Joe Rogan podcast, he's probably got like 2 racks of studio gear that the mics are running through. You know,
running through. that makes me feel a little better. You're probably right.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they got some, and they're probably like made sure the room was acoustically treated perfectly.
Well, joke's on them because they don't get to hang out with golden retrievers.
Yeah, and can just
suckers,
and get to edit about 7 clips out of it of just dogs' asses in our face and just fur flying everywhere.
Yeah, take that, suckers. No, and then the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit was podcasts.
Oh man,
when did you do a podcast? What?
I did one with my friend Drew Russ called In a Nutshel.
When was this?
It was a year and a half ago or something.
You were so ahead of your time.
Not really. I was like on the cusp of ahead of my time, but I really did have a lot of fun doing it. But I just was my own. I mean, I'm kind of the reason it stopped. It just got, you know, I probably did like 5 or 6 episodes, and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I just was like, shit, I don't know how to keep making this interesting. You know, I was like kind of putting this pressure on myself.
The only reason I bring it up on this podcast is I really hope that people listening are like, dude, I hope people spam you being like, dude, please bring it back. Because if
enough people spam me, I'll bring it back.
Okay, let's go.
Bring back the nut.
I mean, it makes it. Please, hashtag bring back the nut. If you're listening to this, just spam bring back the nut. But like, yeah, dude, I feel like you have the gear. Like we're recording, your vocal is your 7B. You have all the everything. And we were talking a lot about like structure and all that. And I don't know, like I hope that there's some amount of feedback from people, or I don't know, like I've just found that the podcast community and the people listening almost guide you, right? Like you start doing it and then you just start listening to what they have to say. Yeah. And it's like people listening will tell you like, oh, I love this, or like, what if you tried this or that? So I don't know. I feel like you have so much to say, and you're such an interesting, fun person to
Well,
talk
thank
to.
you.
Like,
I definitely want to bring it back. I just want to do it right.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe not right. I just want to do it interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really rally for that because I don't know, it's just fun. It's just cool. And like, I think as the listener, like, because we were talking, like, I hate hearing my voice. I hate that
same.
so much.
I didn't
and I
edit
listen
mine.
back.
Drew edited ours because I fucking hate hearing my voice.
Dude. And I listen back and I say too much and this, that, and this.
You just
and
pick
I hate
yourself
it.
apart.
But then I think about my favorite podcast that I listen to. And I'm like so stoked that it's there and that it's just these people hanging out. And I feel like I get to be that fly on the wall.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's got to be so many people that would love to have you to be the fly on the wall to those conversations. Well,
I appreciate that.
I'm a big advocate. For
I've
people
actually
doing it.
lately, like, I kind of feel like I've been like unintentionally lazy about checking out like new music and stuff because all I've been listening to in the past like 2 years has been like talk radio, podcast, and like audiobooks.
Yep.
And not for like, I still love music.
Dude,
I love checking out new music, but for some, I don't know. I don't remember when it happened, but when I'm in my car, like essentially I have the same talk radio station always on in my car. And when we're flying or something, I'll listen to an audiobook or something, or a podcast or this and that. And it's just, that's kind of what motivated me to start it in the first place. And it's just, but also discouraged me at the same time because I'm super picky about some of the podcasts I listen to. And I think that was, it is an excuse, but just it definitely is. But I just put too much pressure on myself when it's just a podcast. It's like I have all the gear. People listen to it, rad. If they don't, rad. But,
I have to remind
it's just I still want to
too.
at least try to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And figure out a way to where I'm not like stressed out about having to make it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that if you're having fun with it, then like that's the biggest thing, right? Like,
because I definitely did have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. And to me, like, that's like why, like, for this, you could look at it and be mad stressed out and be like, what are we going to do? There's a golden retriever jumping all around and dogs are playing. But it's like, dude, like, there's no rules to this. Like, it was just, this would be fun. I would love to hear my friends' stories and how they got to where they're at.
Yeah.
And then it's just fun to talk about.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I feel like this one has helped me kind of figure it out a little bit.
Good.
The flow of it. Like,
good. Yes.
Because I was, I think I was like, when I was doing mine was like a little bit too focused on how I was going to do it, not just kind of having a couple little things to work off of and just letting it naturally flow.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, that and like just like listening, right? Like, because you could start it, and then if it does feel awkward, or if like you get feedback from listeners that are like, "Oh, I wish you'd talk more about this," and like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
As long as it's something that you care about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then like again, perfect transition is like one of the last things. I try to keep them around an hour. I could talk to you for a long time, but one of the last things that I like to do after telling like a whole story and learning about it is like going back. I think a lot of people listening, well, maybe not necessarily everyone, but a lot of the listeners are people that are chasing some kind of career that is not the normal. And to hear from someone like yourself that has so much proven it, it's cool to like see like, oh, cool, he did it. So I'm always interested in this question of if you could go back to any time where it felt the sketchiest, or if you doubted it the most, or like just the spot of like the most turmoil, what spot is that? And now with knowing what you know, what do you tell yourself?
Man, I think the part about when I was kind of under the mercy of my dad making me go back to school, that was just kind of out of my control. Yeah. And that was kind of just a luck thing of him letting me join again. But I feel the most stressful part of our career we've had to me was we had like the 6-year-long lawsuit with Victory that went on. So like, we
didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother thing. There's.
Well, but again, that's out there. Thing. People have seen. Yeah.
But so a big part of it is, we're a rock band. We do pretty well, but it's not like we're EDM artists making in millions every year. But it's like we had to, we had this thing called a war chest where we were having to spend, most of our money went back into this lawsuit, not really knowing what was going to happen. It was kind of like this really dark period, but it was just. I feel like that kind of motivated us to just work harder towards it. We wouldn't talk about it in interviews. We were just kind of just trying to focus on what was important.
Yeah.
We were trying to not put any, like we didn't, because, they helped us out in ways, Victory did, but
Yeah.
we wanted it to just be its own thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what helped us out during that time, was just kind of like, it sucked then, but it's like, it's going to be over one day. And it kind of made us work even harder to like get through it. And to, we physically couldn't afford to not be touring. We couldn't physically afford, like, which is kind of metaphorically, it kind of, we're looking back, I feel like that kind of helped us just really drive even harder, like really just like motivate us to really like, just, I don't know how to explain it.
No, like I get it. Like that's crazy because you said 6 years.
Yeah, it went on for 6 years and we finally went all the way to, we didn't settle. We went to a court case. We were in Chicago it was a jury trial for 2 weeks. Like it was probably the most trying thing we've done as a band, probably. But
you legit had to like go to court, like in a real court,
for
all
2
of
weeks, every single day. It was insane.
But
yeah, it was like kind of, it sucked, but it was like almost in a way like a good motivator to like just we had to physically, I don't know, I kind of like, we've done a lot of things in our career. I feel like whatever has happened to us, whatever it may be, like whether it's like our money box getting stolen from the van or like certain things, it's kind of just like not focusing on it like being a shitty thing, but kind of being like, okay, that happened, nothing can be done now, got to just keep doing this, just how to have the best outcome about anything. Like that could go with anything is kind of my point.
No,
whether
that
it's the
like
court case, whether it's like, I don't want to think about the dollar amount that we had to spend on that court case. But it's like we just had to find a way to make it into a positive kind of thing.
Dude, you like, that is the best answer to that question. And I really do get it, because I think that there is like a misconception of, if you're a band, even if you're successful, you're signed to a label, you're not getting a huge majority of your streaming.
Yeah.
And really making money off of streaming has only started to become like a big thing.
What is it,
lately.
like 2,000 streams equals like a record sale or something like that now? Or it's like something insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
The way it breaks down is pretty wild.
Yeah, I should know that better off the top of my head, but I know that
it's like something crazy.
I just know the money side of it, of like a million streams is close to about $4,000, depending on what network, streaming service, all that. But like that's even evolved and changed so much. So like here you are, this band that's having real success touring and like all of that, but you're not making a ton off of your music. You're having to pay, like, I mean, I know how much legal stuff can be, and something that big, like, so you're probably putting, like you said, like so much of the band's money back into that.
Yeah.
So you had to stay positive. You had to stay touring and putting out a good product and just having faith.
And we weren't only doing it because of the lawsuit. Let me clarify. We loved, but it just was that extra kick in the ass to like, we had to be motivated to keep doing it. It's not like that's cool. The only thing driving us was us being in a lawsuit. It was just, it was just like subconscious kick in the ass,
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, I did not expect that answer, and that's so cool.
Yeah, it was just, I was trying to like figure out a way to explain it with how, I had it in my head. But
I get it. Yeah, like I really do get it.
It was a very, it was a long
6 years.
Stressful, expensive, but, it honestly, for the bet, like in a lot of ways, paid off because of how there was a million different ways we could have handled it, and
I also think that it's huge. Like again, I don't know the details of it, and I don't want to speak on it being uneducated on it, but I love to see an artist stand up for themselves, right? And like, I love to see that that victory, that win.
See what you did there.
Whoops. But no, like, I just love that. Like, I think that shows artists that they can stand up for themselves too. Yeah. And like, I think that represented.
It's definitely a hard thing to do, especially against, the giants, or which are the record label and stuff. And, like, there were a bunch of times we could have settled and stuff, but like, we just knew, like, we weren't the only band he was doing this to, we just,
Yeah. Like you stood up for something. And like, I think that that's really cool. Cause out of all of it, I think the biggest thing that I remember hearing about was the day that it was like won, and it felt like a holiday.
Dude,
it felt like a full on holiday.
That was like, that was one of the best days of my life for sure. Just like it was incredible.
Yeah.
Especially like it was very surreal.
Yeah.
Just all like, the feeling is just indescribable.
But like, dude, even like I was telling you this again earlier before the podcast started, I always feel like there's a bigger story behind the "oh, must be nice" moments, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's a huge win for y'all.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was 6 years of bullshit.
Yes.
For that one thing for people to be like, oh yeah, they won that lawsuit.
Yeah.
Like 6 years. That's so trying.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I don't know. I love hearing those stories, and I love hearing that, I don't know, people put that time and perseverance in and good things happen.
Yeah.
So that's
I feel like
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of things we've done have been definitely, when it comes like even just certain tours you do, it's like you don't only go on certain tours because the money's good or whatever. It's like we've done so many tours where we'll lose money, but it's like it's kind of one of those moments like if like you might not get that opportunity again. Like certain countries we've gone to for the first time, or certain things where it's like it's not like you're gonna get these offers or with certain bands. It's like you can't just pass on it. It's like sure you're gonna be essentially working for free, like you're like if you're not going to be making money at the end of a tour, it's like you have to reinvest, like whether it's the time or money, or you're not just going to get the same offers over and over. It's like there's cool. Certain things that's like it's going to suck for certain aspects for like sometimes, but
it's cool to hear that you're still willing to grind and that you have that perspective, right? Because
absolutely,
there is a side where you could be just super entitled and be like, no, fuck you. Like, we're going to do it like this.
And I mean, it's definitely easy to look at like after a certain point of like, of any band that's been doing it for a while and has, gone through it, like, worked their ass off, that like, it's easy to get that mindset of like, I'm not doing this unless we're getting this. But it's like, it's deeper than just that, it's definitely deeper than just a physical number or it's just a reinvesting of that's. I feel like one of the reasons we're still doing it at all is because we've done a lot of things that we may not have gotten compensated what we deserved or quote unquote, or like, but a lot of things were to further next time we went to this place or or
because it means something to you, right? Like you see
not
a bigger
for
picture.
Fast, like, gratification. It's just
that's another huge lesson and cool thing to hear from you in a time where you guys have really established as a band, right? Like, I feel like people hearing that and like just I don't know, the fact that it's
reinvesting in whether it's a brand or yourself or a talent will never be a bad idea. Like,
that's
no matter like what it is.
That's
like
so cool.
Just that's a whether it's like if you're in a band and you're like think you want to have this cool stage production. Yeah, it's less money you're gonna make at the end of a tour or end of a show, but that's what people are gonna come back to see. Yeah. Like even if it's just like a stage production thing. Like we try to go all out every tour, and we like our productions they're not cheap. And it's like our bottom line's a lot smaller, or what we're gonna make at the end of the tour, but people are gonna want to come see you again if you're gonna, you're reinvesting that. It's not,
and I can even vouch for that.
We just want it to be worth it. We
like,
don't want to just like cash grab and be like, oh, we're gonna play the same songs you've already seen. We're gonna have like a backdrop, which is cool. Like you don't have to have some huge extravagant thing, but you want to make it worth, whether it's a show or you want to like. Or it's music gear or something, whatever you're in, like you want it to be worth what someone is maybe paying you for. Or
it's so cool that you guys are aware of that. And like, again, to back that point, I don't know the like super depths of the band. Mm-hmm. Like I know it from a close far, like I don't know, like enough. Yeah. But even with that, like I like the distance that I have from it, because everything you're saying, I like instantly, I'm like, oh yeah, you were the band that put your lead singer in a hamster ball, right? Like, I don't think anybody did that before you. Or
well, there was a couple bands actually, but not in our genre. There's I think like the Flaming Lips were like the first people to do it, like years and years ago. But I can't say we invented it.
Okay,
but, but in our genre, it was definitely a newer thing.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
that it's true. Like it's cool to hear you say that, and then I can think of examples where I'm like, yeah, like not even knowing it on a close level, like I've seen them do that. That's cool. That's really cool.
We just wanted to be fun and worth the money that people are going to be hopefully still coming to,
Yeah.
see.
That's
So,
I
yes,
mean,
like,
that's incredible. That's such a good way to end it, and to like understand for me, and like to put that out of just like
Yeah.
how much you genuinely care, and like the lessons that are there, and the fundamentals that you guys have, that you have, that just keep applying at any level.
yeah, and then that can go like whether you're in a band or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
like any sort of, whether you're an entrepreneur or a creative, it's like reinvesting in yourself in any way is
Yeah.
never going to be a bad idea.
I just love to hear that from you, because you have such a level of success to prove that that's real, right?
I mean, that's a big part of the reason why we're even close to still doing it at all. Like,
which is
like,
awesome.
and I feel like we kind of just learned that along the way. Like, it wasn't something we kind of were just like read and we're like, oh, that's how we do it. It was just something that we just realized the more we do stuff like that, and the more we just really, like, oh, I think I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the more you just reinvest, whether it's money, time, anything, you just learn it along the way. I feel like that's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's easy to always like, have a quick cash grab, or, you're like not reinvest some of your money into whether it's gear or production or something, like, but it's never going to be a bad thing to do that.
That's so cool. Dude, I feel like we did the damn thing.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit.
The dogs
thank
are finally
you.
chilling now
I
too.
know. They're all tuckered out.